Good day. How are you? Amazing, amazing, always amazing, always a blessing, right? And I love fashion, and it's no crime. I like a good dot. What inspired me for this dot today is the Deco Dot Kate Spade teapot and butter dish I'm trying to sell on Mercari. Where are you people? Come on, hurry up and buy it. Anywho, this is always a joy and a pleasure to just release and just be free and talk and feel good. We are so close, inching to the holidays, that I said, you know what I'm dying to talk about? Crime shows. How does that relate, Fanny? Please do tell. Well, let me tell you right now, I love a good crime show. My whole life, I love just listening to it. I'm intrigued by it. My emotions get all bubbly when I started listening to it. But let me tell you something. One of the things that makes me laugh is I will be sitting there folding the laundry like, she killed her husband, how? And my husband sitting there like, what is she watching? And it makes me just crack up because it's like a lullaby at nighttime. It's like, she murdered her husband with an axe, tied him up, cut him up, ate him, fed him for dinner. And I'm like, oh, I'm having beautiful dreams tonight. This is always how I am with this type of topic. But what I wanted to get into is, what's my passion, right? So many of you know I'm a paralegal. Let me see if I could find it. If I could grab it. I'm not messing with my green screen, but it's in the back. It's my little nameplate that says Notary Public and paralegal. And some people get this confused. They're like, oh, you're a criminal paralegal? Like, no, I'm not. What kind of paralegal? I am a paralegal for family law, immigration, patent law, labor relations, employer relations, contracts, things of that nature. Crime? Oh no. Whew. Oh, I can't get into that business. I can't. I am so intrigued by the body and subject of crime. I don't want to be actually involved. Because I give you props. The other thing that drives me and is my passion is I've worked so many years in human resources, employer relations, and payroll. So sometimes, these things that I have skills for, I don't get to utilize them, and I get all bubbly inside, like I want to utilize these skills, but I don't always get to use them, and that's okay. When the time comes, I'm like, here it comes, boom. Interrogatories, depositions, witnesses, all of a sudden, there goes my magic powers. And I get kind of crazy, like if I'm working and doing something, and I see something, I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't seem. Fanny, take it down a notch. It's a simple contract. I get very passionate about these things, but I want to talk about crime shows. So about 12 years ago, I had my first son, and I love him to death, and he was a beautiful little chubby baby. So when he was born, I had 4 months of time just home alone. I had to take care of the baby, right? But I had this time to be home and learn him. So I was like, well, let me get into some shows. I don't know. Let me watch TV. And I'm not the biggest TV person. Like, I will watch the same thing every day. But then all of a sudden, I came across dun 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 dun. You know what that is? Law and Order. Oh my goodness, if I could find it right now, I'm going to show you. Here we go. Oh my goodness, let's get this out of here. My Law and Order. I love it. I can't tell you. I've watched so much Law and Order. I'm like, he's guilty. The show just started. I'm like, he's the guy. That's the murderer. I already know. And I don't know if they make me feel that way, but I do. And let me tell you something. When Law and Order was on during my pregnancy, I had the opportunity to watch a couple episodes here, but I got so hooked that when I had my second son, I was like, the first thing I'm going to do when I come home from the hospital is I'm going to catch up on my Law and Order. That is exactly where my mind was, okay? Then I found out about Law and Order SVU. Oh my God, I didn't even know about this yet. I didn't even know all the intricacies and the rigmarole, if you don't mind me using that word. I love that word. But I found these things so fascinating. And then guess what I did? I saw every episode. And I couldn't believe it. It hurt so much inside. I had to understand, what am I going to do now? Where is my focus going to fall? And then thank God I found this, but not on CBS, on Netflix. Oh, Lord. Up into season 12. That wasn't enough for me. That wasn't enough, Netflix. I needed more than season 12. I'm addicted. You know what I'm saying? I like the crime show. But, I always throw in a Dateline, a Snap. I had to go give it to Snap. Oh, man. This Snap right here. There's some crazy things people do. I mean, I had to laugh because, Law and Order, based on something that had happened. Snaps is about actual crime events. And, then all of a sudden when I stumbled onto Snapped, I then stumbled onto Forensic Files. Now, here's the thing. Forensic Files has the Unsolved Mysteries intro music. So you're like, ooh, intriguing. Hold on, I see you. Let me give some love to this one right here. So Forensic Files has this type of energy. And that energy, it's like this music that kind of draws you in. But it's like a 1970s, 1980s unsolved music, unsolved mysteries type of thing. But it cracks me up. So then they say, when we were looking at the fibers, we realized under the microscope it was an orange. And only this type of fiber could be from a carpet from a hotel. Doom. And it's like, and then what happened? And it's like, if you think about that type of narrator, that type of dialogue, you're like, who cares? But no. Then you find the plot twist. It was really the guy, the camera guy, and you know what's funny? I gotta say this. Now, please forgive me if I offend. Every time they, in Forensic Files, I'm gonna specifically say Forensic Files. I always feel like, thank God it wasn't the Latino. Yo, mi primos. I was like, thank God, oh my God. Because, they started looking at, that guy kind of close. And I'm like, it's not him. He doesn't fit the profile. And had I known about the profile, I learned that from Criminal Minds. Hello. But, sometimes you watch the show and you're just like, I'm never going to go to a hotel again without a blue light, a Clorox, I don't know, sulfur. Like, you just feel it. You really do. But I love these shows. And this is not Halloween. This is a Christmas holiday, New Year's topic. Because something about this just vibes. It was a cold night. It was never like, it was a sunny day in Malibu. Everybody was having a great day. And all of a sudden, boom, bam, to someone's eye. It's never like that, okay? It's always like it was a hard night in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. It was raining. It was cold. Like, oh my goodness, everything happens in winter. I have to walk around with mace and maybe one of the, those metal things that when you hit it on the glass of the window, it breaks the car. I need to walk around with that. An extra pointy pair of shoes. I mean, I always wear high heels, but an extra pointy one, just in case. That's how I feel. But anyway, so I love these shows. And so you know what I love to do. If you know my podcast and if you know me, you know my go-to, IMDb. I always go to the IMDb list. And I don't know if I should even show it because they ain't paying me, right? Let me move that out of there. Just saying. Let's get back the crime window. There we go. There we go. Okay. Those of you who are not tuning in live and you're listening to this podcast, you're like, what is she? I can't see anything. That's okay. I'll have you covered. And I always recap everything in a blog that comes out every Wednesday. So always look forward to seeing that come out. So IMDb has some things listed here, and I'm looking at the list, and I get it, but that's not my list. So I think my passion with crime started with Murder, She Wrote. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on a second. Remember? Okay. So from Murder, She Wrote, this lady always knew what was going on in her town. And then it went to Perry Mason. Oh my God, I love Perry Mason. Perry Mason would arrest a woman who was a murderer, but she was always dressed to the nine. Like, I want to have a little waist and a pointy hat, you know what I mean? And like the A-line skirt. Oh, and she was like, I had to kill him for the air, like whatever it was. I love Perry Mason. He was great. And Columbo, hold on for a second. I got that eye. Hold on for a second. Here we go. Columbo. I love him. And Kojak. Who doesn't remember Kojak? Oh my gosh. So many of these shows that I always grew up with, and it always made me intrigued with the law and intrigued with criminal mindsets. And I know that my son's gonna kill me for this, but I won't give too many details. But I am a natural lie detector test. And what inspired me today was just a conversation that we had. And I'm just going to say this. Whenever I won't do it. But what I will say is whenever someone, says anything to me, and I've always been this way, because part of one of my classes or courses I took as a younger person, it was about deposition. So we had to give a deposition. So I'm going to give away my secret. And for anyone who wants to know the secret of authenticity, that is really the key there. And it's not about taking a lie detector test, or it's really about the authenticity of the person, okay? Sometimes the facts don't just add up. Sometimes you're talking to someone and you're trying to understand where they're coming from, and you're trying to listen to them, but there's something in their storyline that you need to dive a little deeper. For example, let's start from the beginning. I once met a gentleman who told me that he was so funny. He was like, I'm so funny. Everybody laughs at all my jokes. I was with this person literally for 45 minutes. I needed water. It was so dry. There was not a funny bone in his body. There was nothing hilarious. So he gave away his tell. His tell was he wanted me to believe that he was funny. That's his authenticity challenge to me, that he wants to tell me who he is before I get to learn who he is. So I'm a very good observer. I always will look at someone, walk away. I don't know what color eyes they have, what kind of shoes they have, what size their underwear is. I will be all up in their business. He's a nail biter. Why is he so nervous? Why is he so shifty? I'm just like that. And then the other thing about my personality is I like to talk to someone and look at them directly in the eyes. And I like to ask them questions like, oh, so what time were you there? Oh, okay. And who was there with you? Alibis. I'm trying to help them, cultivate an alibi because allegedly something happened. But I can't stop myself from being this way. And I have tried. And, even in the friendliest ways. Oh, this is your new boyfriend. Nice to meet you. And where do you work? And exactly when I looked you up in the FBI's most wanted list, why was your mugshot there? I won't just come out and directly say it. But, I will ask in a roundabout way, friendly chitter-chatter amongst coffee talk, right? A little sip of coffee always gets me going. But I always do this. Now, so the first step is the authenticity test, where they tell you more than you need to know. Now, I'm an oversharer, and I have zero shame, so I will overshare. Does that mean I failed the authenticity test? No, it doesn't. So when someone's an oversharer, they're genuine because they're looking for an empathetic ear. So, when they tell you the whole story, the whole, But one time I had an employee who worked for me and I was their boss. And one day, they would often give me a bunch of stories about, I can't come into work today because of blah, 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 whatever it was. One day they told me they couldn't come to work because their grandmother passed away. And my heart goes out because you know me and how I feel about the gramps. I love that generation of people. Like when I go to Florida, I would prefer to go to Delray Beach just to be amongst that crowd. I don't know what it is. So I felt so bad and I was like, you know what? Take the day off. Do you need the time? Well, let me know. So a couple of months later, it just so happened that this person calls out again and they said, I can't come in. My grandmother died. And I was like, huh? Deja vu. I was like, your grandmother, your paternal grandmother or your maternal grandmother? And they were like, what kind of question is that? I'm like, I'm so sorry, but which one is it? And they were like, my father's mother, my paternal. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, no, because 4 months ago, your grandmother died. So that must have been your mother's mother. And then they were like, oh, you keep track? Oh, yes, I do. Let me tell you, first of all, my condolences to you and your family. But I'm a paralegal, and it's in my nature to keep tracks. So, tilly-tally, dot my I, cross my T. That's part of my nature. The second part is I keep an attendance roster. So when I go back, I'm going to be like, that was the maternal. You only get 2 grandmas. Don't come over here with 3 grandma story. So another family member better go. You know what I'm saying? Before you come over with another story. So lo and behold, one time I was in the store and I bumped into this person shopping with their mother and their grandmother. And don't you know, as I walked down the produce section, they were trying to hide their grandma. And I was like, oh, hi, how you doing? Oh, it's your grandma. Quarter in my swear jar. Let me tell you something. First of all, authenticity. When they told me their first grandma died, and then they came to work so quick, so happy, there was no inheritance. There was no mourning. There was no reason for the happiness. So I knew I was a little suspicious. But let me tell you what gave it away. When I asked them questions about their grandmother, they did this. So when you ask someone a question, a direct question in the eyes, and the first thing they do is this. You peep what I'm doing there? Sometimes you have to think, but normally when people think, they do this. They look up. Who knows? In their brain, they have a filing cabinet and a whole staff, and the temp is in there looking through the files. Here's the answer, right? She gets it for you. But when you look over here, you're searching. You are searching for an answer. So I was like, oh, what happened? Well, what happened was that right there. And you know what? No one knows they do it. They don't know they do that. That's why when I talk to you, I try to be like looking you up and down directly in your eyes. So anyway, right then and there. Now here's the other thing. If you have to call out, don't kill off family members. They don't deserve that. I'm sure grandma was always there for you. What I would suggest is just be honest, that you don't feel well or you can't come in today. 9 out of 10, being genuine about what's going on in your situation, you'll get that empathy from your manager and they'll let you go. They don't want someone in the office all day being putts and stuff, tired or whatever. It's better for you, okay? And the other thing is, let's say you want to call out on Friday. I don't want to come to work on Friday, next Friday. You know what you do? I'm going to tell you the smartest thing. You schedule Friday off. I have an appointment. No one's allowed legally to ask you, what is this appointment for? Is it a medical appointment? It's an appointment and it's none of your business. Now, you're not going to say that because that's a little rude. But what you are going to say is actually it's an appointment and it's protected by HIPAA. It's my right not to share. And move along if they need to get that involved. Now, if they say to you, bring me a doctor's note, right? I don't know if I should say it, but sometimes doctor's notes are HIPAA violations. So because who is your manager going to share that information with? Speak to your lawyer. You know what I'm saying? But it's really, why are you being so nosy, Karen? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody really needs to know all your details. Well, I had to get that hemorrhoid removed, and nobody needs to know. It's no one's business. I had a ingrown hair. If you have an appointment, you have an appointment. If it's a nail appointment, a wax appointment, a hair appointment, it's an appointment. It doesn't matter. If you request the day off and you're approved off, guess what you're not doing Friday morning? Calling out. There's always something to do. Everybody, just FYI, any Friday the 13th of the year, I'm not coming to work. I'm getting a tattoo. So just FYI, I always request those days ahead of time. That's, when I was working. Okay, so anywho. So the authenticity challenge is, how's the person's body language acting? Now, as you go into asking them questions, sometimes it's the simplest questions. And then, how calm are you? When you are super calm and easygoing, easy breezy, they start turning red and they start getting nervous. Well, that tells you right there what's really going on. And you learn in those moments that this person's uneasy, they're uncomfortable, they're not being truthful. That's a Columbo move. So everything I just mentioned to you really stems from the Columbo, that TV show. Because he would, in a roundabout way, be like, hey, you said you were at the boathouse. But now you were talking about bowling. Were you at the boathouse bowling, or were you bowling with the boat? Like, he will, like, crisscross applesauce, make you try to think about what you just said. The other thing is, I do believe sometimes you have to omit. Sometimes you don't give it all. And one of those things you do is, I don't want to answer. Don't lie, though. When you lie, what happens is, when you have a beautiful seam on the bottom of your dress or pants and you pull a string, that it will always unravel. Unless you get it rehemmed, it's always going to unravel. So you'll have to keep up with the lie. The lie then becomes a person. It becomes a human that you have to now feed and take care of and maintain. And then they get a temperature sometimes and they're not feeling well. The lie becomes more than you can control. So sometimes what's the best answer is just be honest and truthful and direct. So, that can go both ways. Now, let's say, for example, you're talking to somebody and they say to you, hey, does my breath stink? You can say, oh, no, your breath doesn't smell at all. But what are you doing? It's a lie, right? Or you can say, oh, I can't smell. I'm not feeling, I don't know the smell. Whatever. Or you can say, nah, it doesn't smell good. Tic Tac in your mouth. You know what I mean? Those are awkward situations. But if you're uncomfortable answering that question, you can say, don't ask me questions like that. Period. So now you don't have to answer the question. You don't have to you omit your answer if it's, right? If it's yay or nay. But what you're really doing is you're owning your situation. So you really have to understand how to phrase your question or phrase your answer with a direct response. So some situations are yes and no situations. Some situations are close-ended statements that don't involve a follow-up. So what they're going to say to you? Now, sometimes it's your best friend and they're like, but I really need to know I have a date. If it's your best friend, you just tell them the truth. I honestly feel like leading with your best foot forward is the honest way to go. It really is. So sometimes on the crime shows, there's a dishonesty level with the people who may be being interrogated. Maybe they're too suave, or maybe they're too preppy, or something about the character. And I noticed this in Criminal Minds. In Criminal Minds, normally the perpetrator is the refined or the exact detail or the quintessential criminal for who that person's supposed to be. So if he is the outline trucker and he's the sociopath, he is too much of a trucker. And I'm like, wait a second. That guy right there, he's a great actor. He's the killer because he's the trucker. and he's too good in that role. Something about making the person perfect to fit the crime, you start to be suspicious. But really, that suspicion is because they painted it truthfully in that description of who the character is. So Criminal Minds, I would love. And also, my God, Garcia, the relationship, I love that show. I really do. It's a great show. Now, thinking about some crime shows that really are very intriguing, this is something that might blow your mind. And I'm going to bring it up because, well, it's my show and I can talk about anything I want. So I'm going to bring this up. There's this show, and you may have heard of it. Maybe not. I'm going to move my little thing over here out of the way. So this show is called Dead Files. Have you guys ever heard of Dead Files? So this is actually kind of interesting because I love the paranormal. I love talking about the paranormal. And, you know, my little sister-in-law, my baby sister who I love so much, she knows that whenever she comes over, I'm like, put something scary on. Only when she's there I say that, right? Because otherwise I'm watching murder. But anyway, switch it up, scary murder. But Dead Files is fascinating. Love this show. I love this show so much. I stalk these two humans in real life on their Instagrams. So hi, it's me, Fannytasticlife. Thanks for that like. I appreciate it, but I always do. And let me explain this show. So we have two main characters right here. Love them. And what's so interesting about them is this gentleman right here, and I'm gonna totally butcher their names. So I'm gonna have to go to my little thing that gives me my cheat sheet. Here we go. Amy Allen. Amy's the paranormal, and Steve, that's the name I was looking for. Steve, he's the detective. So why is this show interesting? The premise is that they're both trying to figure out some type of mystery that's going on when they visit a place. And so Amy Allen, she goes in and she goes with a clean slate, doesn't know anything about the situation. She's walking into it. And normally it's at nighttime. Steve, on the other hand, he's a New York City police detective. When he talks, I'm like, it is like a violin. It's so beautiful. So when he talks, I'm paying attention. And what he does is he does an investigation on the same house, the same situation. And he actually looks up the facts, the history. And that's what really intrigues me. He goes in, he'll speak to the town librarian, the town archive, the archivist of the area, the family members. He'll interview and interrogate, but not interrogate in a negative way. So I know sometimes people think I felt interrogated. An interrogation is a process of asking questions and answers. So sometimes it has a negative ring, but an interrogation happens all the time. You have to do a thorough interrogation to understand what type of information you need. Because sometimes you may be seeking something, and through your interrogation, you will find out a lot of facts and information that you didn't know. Paralegal fun. So with him, he does this great interrogation, and he speaks to the children, right? So here comes Amy Allen. Amy Allen, her facial expressions are authentic. They are genuine, okay? Her authenticity is ironclad approved. She's very genuine. And it's so much so that I'm watching like, oh my God, what was that? And she's like, what was that? And I'm like, oh my goodness. And there's nothing there, but you can feel it because let me tell you, if I found out tomorrow that this was not real, then honestly, I will hand over or put a petition together for a Grammy because it's great acting. But I'm a believer. I'm a believer, and I totally feel that it's authentic. So what she does is she looks at the paranormal investigating side, the investigation on her paranormal findings. And sometimes there's a ghost, or there is, again, this is not a Halloween special. We're right in time for the holidays. Sometimes it's the ghost of Christmas past, you know what I'm saying? Or a soldier or something of that nature, or there was a massacre or something that happened in that area. And she's able to find out this information from her reading, just being there in the presence. The part that I cannot miss at all, that I must see it, and that do not get out of my space. I cannot miss this part, is when they come together at this table. This is a picture of Amy, Alan, and Steve at the table. Let me just, too much, clicked way too much. And this is on the Travel Channel, by the way. That's how I came across it. But when they sit at this table, what happens there is they start to go over the fact finding that they both have. The best part of this show is when she says something and then Steve is able to confirm the information with the facts that he found. Now, I know you're thinking it's too much. I don't understand. She will say, oh, when I went into this part of the house, there was a room there where I felt a woman who killed her husband, and she had red hair, green eyes, and a tattoo of a scorpion on her cheek. Made that part up. And he will be like, was it this picture of this woman with the scorpion on her cheek? And she puts it down. And then the family who's sitting there, the mother, she will get, for Clem, she'll be like, I saw that woman with this tattoo on her. I saw her scaring my children. And it comes together and you sit there like, wait a second. Whoa. There's a real sense of fear, facts, science, paranormal, investigation, crime. Wow. So if you're into crime shows and you like paranormal, I'm going to tell you, go check out the show, because you may be skeptic like, Fanny, I don't believe it. Have you heard of Teresa Caputo? Get with the times, people. There's something out there, okay? There's something out there. I believe it. I believe it. There has been so many situations where I have met people and I'm like, that is a reptile person. I know it. His eyes are too shifty. You know what I mean? He's not lying. He can't control that his eyes close like this. So, you know who you are. And as long as we maintain, I got nothing bad with you. You got nothing bad with me. But I do believe that there's something out there. I always sense things. And, sometimes people think I'm a little, nuts. But that's okay. That's what makes me entertaining, right? Yeah. So I do believe it. And I do think this is a great show. If you're into crime and you like the little paranormal side, you will love this show, because something about it really comes together very nicely. Now, how did I discover this show? Wouldn't you know? A certain pandemic happened, and there I was in my kitchen doing the Roku. I don't know how to the Roku, and I came across something on a Hulu, and there it was. And that was the best thing I ever, I really just totally enjoyed this, because I was out of crime shows. And my kids will tell you, the other day I was driving and I was out of crime shows or out of things to watch. That, and I should say this, just give a disclaimer. I'm not sitting around all day eating bonbons during COVID, eating bonbons, watching crime shows. This happens when I fold the laundry. Whenever I have to fold the laundry, normally I do a wash and a dry on Fridays, so I can fold that way by the new week. My kids have underwear. But when I'm folding the laundry, I put this on. I'm like, it's like a machine. I'm like Lucy Bulb. I'm not eating chocolate. It's the same idea. I'm running through it. And my mind is there. My clothes is folded. And then at the end of when the clothing's folded, then I'm done with my show. And that's it. Because, you're stuck in a spot. And I'm not going to be typing and podcasting. I'm doing laundry. So it's just a great way to still have brain stimulation through crime. But we were driving somewhere. And I think we were driving through one of my favorite towns. And I'm just going to mention it. Chester. What a beautiful town. If you've ever been to New Jersey, take a drive through Chester, visit the shops there. Shout out to all the shops. Shout out to the Biscotti shop. Shout out to all of them, because they are hardworking folks, and it's small business. And you know what? I love supporting small business. Why not? But it's such a beautiful visual thing to see. It's a small town and it's very nice to drive through. But we were driving through Chester and I was like, I need some murder shows. And my kids were like, Mom, what are you talking about? But I meant crime. Anywho, This is what I'm sharing today, and of course I'm gonna outline this on the blog this week. But before I go, I do want to mention something that I'm gonna keep pushing and mentioning, so that hey, I see my friend Mullet2560 out there. Shout out to you. But I do want to say that if you get an opportunity, this little lady right over here, this one right here, her name is Bernanda Chico, the elf on my shelf. And she's an amazing little elf, and I've been talking about her a lot lately. And this Wednesday, her story is going to be published in my blog. Please check it out, because we are running a contest for this little lady. And let me tell you what the contest is. It's a part of our globe package. The globe is for New Year's Eve. We're giving away a beautiful globe prize, like a little snow globe. And it's so nice. It's going to be packaged beautifully. But why? Because I want to know, what kind of elf do you have on your shelf? What is your elf up to? So my elf is a little mischievous elf, and a good friend of mine, Ann Macari, who sells stuff known as the Nifty Thrifty, she has an elf cup. Hey, take a picture of that elf cup. No problem. That's an elf on your shelf. I want to know what elf is on your shelf, and do me the favor and hashtag it, Bernanda, this is my elf. And send it on your social media, either Instagram or Facebook. Let me know. And me and Bernanda, we're going to sit back, watch some crime shows, and go through all the pictures of your elves on your shelves. And the winner will be announced. Please make sure that you submit your photo by December 31st, 2020 of this year, the last day of this year, I should say, and let me know. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of Fannytastic Life. Bye now.